So I'll start off with this, man. The team I saw out there on Friday um, did look like a team that had been playing for a long time. Um, Looked like they had played 3 games in 10 days. Uh, some players looked like they didn't really have the legs on them, and it looked like toward the end of the season, and you could visibly it was wearing on them. I think that was part of the problem in our pass protection. And so, not to give it as an excuse, but I do believe that we see that on both sides of football. And that was offensive line and defensive line, and some of our secondary too. Uh, but some of the fundamentals and technique that I was talking about, I was referencing actually Patrick Mahomes, PM15. And as I went through the film, just kind of um, watching some of his mechanics, some of his steps. He had happy feet, and I told you, like, it's what it's what you want to do with any quarterback, man. You get him off his grass, get him to run and move around. It's going to create problems. It's going to create errant throws, uh, and so Patrick Mahomes is no different in that regard. The thing is, Patrick Mahomes can overcome those things in a game where some other ones can't, right? Particularly like a Kirk Cousins or somebody that you see at the end of the game that necessarily win. But I think Pat has that he has it locked down where he's able to kind of bring about him doing some great things. Okay, that's his superpower. But Pat has been a lot better than I've seen this past week, and I think once he became that, I seen him kind of stiff legged on some balls, and also too some of the things he's running around, like the one he fumbled was running. I'm like, man, what is that? Like, just so for me, Pat did a decent job, but Pat is much better than what he showed. I think that's part of what he was pissed off about. He wasn't necessarily pissed off on the guys, but I think it was a culmination of things, right? It was, maybe him not getting the ball like he needed to. Some balls sailed on him, obviously, that he could have probably hit. If guys are doing their job, hey, he hits worthy, right? And that's, Travis, of course, kind of missed him. One thing we just didn't do well, Marcus, we just didn't recognize what they were giving us defensively. We didn't communicate like we should have. Obviously, when I'm sitting over and I'm watching the film, it looks, communicate. Okay, here we go. Here's the adjustment. It's what it should be calling. And when I'm looking at everybody's faces, if they're turning to communicating, obviously I can't hear them. But when I'm looking at all 22, you usually see a head turn or somebody like immediately when you see somebody walk up in the box. Okay, that is the adjustment. That is the call now. Everybody should be making their calls at this moment. And what I've seen was nobody was doing that. Nobody was recognizing it. So they had a great game plan against some of the things that we were doing. But Pat in itself, some of his errant throws that he did, he's a much better player than that. I actually gave Patrick Mahomes a C+.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on this, and we talked about this on the post-game show. Whereas, like, if you were having a hard time protecting him, the play calling, which you'll get to the grades later on the play calling, but this is one thing I wanted to mention. It seemed like a lot of throws, and he threw 47 times on Sunday. That was the most he's had in a regular season game, JD.
Yep.
Since 2022, where he threw 68 times against the Tennessee Titans. It's the most amount of passing attempts he's had in a regular season game. It ties the amount of passing attempts he had in the Super Bowl against the 49ers this past year. But regular season-wise, the last time he threw that much in a game was the 68 passing attempts against the Titans in 2022. So very, very interesting play calling, I'll say, especially regarding the situation. And I got to say this too, Patrick Graham, that DC for the Raiders,
yeah,
he does something against Pat. Yeah, you look at last year against the Chiefs, the Christmas Day game. Obviously, Patrick Graham was on the staff, but going back to his Giants days when we played against Patrick Graham, we had that Monday night game against him, where it was an ugly game. We won by 3, but that game, Mahomes 29 to 48, 275, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 2 sacks in that game. So, like, obviously, Patrick Graham does something where we can't figure it out offensively. I don't know, but kudos to Patrick Graham. I mean, he knows how to play against our guy. Come on, baby. Go. Yes. That's a first down. That's a first down. That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now.
Yeah, and the reality is, man, when you play a guy, enough times, you kind of know what it is that they do, what their strength, what their weaknesses are, because you got a lot of film on it. And so they have a whole array of things that they can look at. How are you going to attack the Chiefs? And then what you do is you charge your guys to go ahead and execute what you ask them to do. And the D-line did a good job of that. They knew, okay, this is where we can attack them. And of course, we've seen some spiking by the defensive end, some twists, some just flat out just beating us at the line of scrimmage. But what they also understood is we're not going to let Patrick Mahomes get on the outside where he actually take off running with his legs. Keep him inside the box. If he does go up the middle, then we got some big guys that was pushing the ball over. So Mike Brennan, 0 turnovers by Pat. I could care less about turnovers. I'm looking for touchdowns that he missed and big plays like that, Mike. So, Pat, like everybody else, has a job to do. And his job is to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. And sometimes he just missed it. There was times that there were some balls in the dirt. There's times he was just moving around when he didn't need to. And so like I said, I'll say this, and I always say this. Pat has got to make sure he puts us in a good position with the plays that's being called to him. Now, obviously, maybe every call wasn't the best of calls, but I do expect Pat to have a much better game than what he had. Like I said, we should have beat this team by at least 2 touchdowns, at least. If we executing the way we're supposed to, shoot, hey, who's to say what we would be able to do? So.
Yeah, it comes down to the red zone execution, man, which we say, we've been saying for a long time since we've been doing the show. When you can't convert in the red zone, you're gonna allow teams who shouldn't be in the game with us at all to hang around. You keep getting 3. That team's gonna score a touchdown one of these times where you get 2 trips down there and you get 6. They're gonna score a touchdown and they're in the game. They're up 1 just like that. And so it's all about the converting in the red zone. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say this. There were some really great throws by Pat. Some really great throws on the money from him. Guys dropped it. So I'm not taking away. Pat did some really nice things. He did some really nice things out there. So that's why sometimes when I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm like, man, what's the, how's everybody corresponding to where he's playing and what he's doing? So life just right. Everybody's talking about the line. Okay. So we understand the line has a job to do. Okay. There's some things that Pat could do to help out the line as well. But also, too, the coaches can help out the line. We talked about with running the football. If I'm going through him, I'm talking about his fundamentals. I'm talking about his technique. I'm talking about his feet. I'm talking about the tempo where he's throwing the football. Some of the throws that he was making, some were just off. Some were just, he's like up here trying to do things, man, and it's like indecisiveness. But like I said, all that plays into it. Pat is a much better quarterback than that. Okay, the C+ goes into maybe the lack of things that I saw that he didn't actually do. Where he could have hit. Let's say he hit a couple more of those big shots, man. That might be a B+. A B for sure. But I'm going to I'm looking at everything that he's doing. Okay, I'm grading everything. And so I'll grade the line. I'll have a grade for the line too. Uh, but also too, there's some things, like I said, some happy feet trying to get out here, do some things, and they weren't gonna let it happen. Like you said, the defense made sure that there were certain things they weren't gonna let Pat beat you on. They weren't. And so the one that he dropped all the way back and fumbled and stuff. I'm like, man, what are we running around like that? It was sometimes Pat was just running around. I'm like, Pat, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do it. So
Yeah, I will say the play where he evaded the sack and got out of that, made that amazing throw to D-Hop. And D-Hop was really pissed off that he dropped that pass, but that was probably one of the highlights of the game. And it was an incomplete pass, but nonetheless, yeah, I agree. C+, and I think a lot of people here agree it wasn't Pat's best game by any means. So C+. Yeah.
Not at
Um,
all. Shoot, especially throw the ball that many times. Shoot.
Yeah, and I think I might have said 47 earlier. It was 46 pass attempts. He had 46 pass attempts in the Super Bowl, but that's the most any regular season game he's had since the 68 in 2022 against the Tennessee Titans. So a lot of passing attempts. And again, that Tennessee Titans game we're talking about, that was another nail biter. We almost lost that game. So yeah, it's kind of a correlation when you throw a lot and you don't really have much of a balance. You get in these close games. No coincidence there.
No.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.